Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is political unrest in Africa. And we're fortunate to have with us to talk about political unrest in Africa the same individual who has talked to this audience on many occasions about a whole variety of important political issues with the Middle East, Africa, South America, and etc. Our own Dr. LMadu. And of course, Dr. LMadu, let me welcome you to the show this morning and tell you how delighted we are again to have you, and to especially be encouraged by the fact that today we're going to talk about not only a current topic, but one that goes way back some 40 years, dealing with Libya. And so let's start off by having you give us some kind of assessment in terms of what's going on the continent of Africa today, and Libya today.
Well, the most important issue, happening now is the question of Libya. Colonel Gaddafi has been in power since 1969, and this is 42 years now in power. Since Libya really became officially independent, in 1951, it has been ruled by only two leaders. The ex-king Idris Senussi, who was overthrown in 69 by Gaddafi, and Colonel Gaddafi himself. So they've had only two leaders.
Since independence, there have only been two leaders.
Exactly.
42 years.
Yes, since 1951. So since 69, all Libyans have known is Gaddafi. So anybody who is under 40 years old, that's the only leader you ever known. So since 69, his regime has been very erratic. He came in with a 12-member revolutionary council. There were 12 of them who overthrew the king in 1969. And since then, almost half of them have run away into exile, and he has fallen, out with the rest. And that's when his regime started crumbling. Because what happened, when he fell out with those he came to power with, what happened? He turned inwards, his children and family. Just the same thing Saddam Hussein did. So he lost focus, really, of where he was heading to. And that, in turn, did what? Started making people to agitate for more rights. And then what happened? You crack down more on those people. Then they agitate more. So he had to stay in power by repression, not by democratic means or by what he's doing for the people, but, by force. So that's how we came here, today. Libya really is a very small country. Demographically, it's between 6 to 7 million people, which is not much. But in geographical terms, it's really the 4th largest city in Africa. There are almost 700,000 square miles. Only Sudan, Congo, Republic of Congo, and Algeria is larger than Libya. In fact, Libya is always twice the size of Nigeria in area of land, with immense oil, about 50 billion, barrels oil reserve, the largest reserve in Africa, and $100 billion in external reserves in money, and 150 billion in Commonwealth funds that it has. Most of it now has been seized, by the United States government and foreign banks and all that since this confrontation started. Really, the difference between the confrontations in Libya and those in Tunisia and Egypt is that the one in Libya became technically what you call an armed insurrection. In Tunisia and Egypt, they were peaceful demonstrators. Yeah, even when Mubarak tried to provoke them by sending his thugs, they still didn't pick up arms to fight, because that's exactly what Mubarak wanted to do in Egypt. Is inside those people, they start shooting and all that, then he will order the army to crush it, saying it's lawlessness. So that's the mistake those demonstrators did in Libya. When they started, they came out as peaceful, but behind those demonstrators were people with guns. What is happening in Libya now really has been planned originally. They were just waiting for the right time to strike. In 1993, there was a serious challenge to Colonel Gaddafi, led by army officers from a different ethnic group. He mercilessly, crushed it, and a whole lot of people were executed. Same again, there was a prison riot in a city in northeast, Libya, in which 1,300 prisoners were slaughtered just because they were protesting. So it's on and on and on, civil rights violations and human rights violations. People arrested and they disappear. So this is exactly why the people got fed up. And then last month, in the city of Beda,
And of course, Dr. Moody, let us take this first commercial break, and then we'll pick up at this exact point in reference to the coming of this great tragedy that we are now witnessing. Let me encourage our audience to tune in for the second part of this show. In Africa.